3 years ago, I had everything a man could want. A corner office on the 47th floor. A six-figure salary. The title CEO on my business card. People knew my name. They respected me. They wanted to be me. But every single night, I came home empty. My hands were shaking. My chest was tight. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't eat. I was dying from the inside, and nobody could see it. One morning, I looked in the mirror, and I didn't recognize the person staring back at me. That's when I made a decision that changed my entire life. I quit. I walked away from everything. And what I found after that? Well, that's the story I'm about to tell you. And trust me, it's going to change how you think about success. At 28, I got promoted to CEO of a tech startup called Cloud Venture. Can you imagine? 28 years old, running a company with millions in revenue. I thought I'd made it. I thought I'd won at life. My parents called every friend they knew to brag about me. My friends on social media saw the posts. Pictures of me at conferences, standing on stages, looking successful. People envied me. Women wanted me. Men wanted to be me. On the outside, I looked like I had it all figured out. But the reality? The reality was a living nightmare. I'd shower in 5 minutes. I'd skip breakfast. I'd be at the office by 6:30 a.m. before anyone else arrived. The days were chaos. Back-to-back meetings. Board meetings where investors questioned every decision. Investor calls where I had to convince billionaires that our company was worth their money. Strategic planning sessions that lasted 8 hours. Quarterly reports that kept me up at night because one number was off by 0.3%. There was always another fire to put out. Always another crisis. Always another reason I couldn't leave the office. I had a girlfriend. Her name was Sarah. Beautiful woman. Patient woman. But I broke up with her because I couldn't be present. She'd talk to me, and I'd be checking emails. She'd try to make plans, and I'd cancel because of work. Eventually, she just gave up. I had best friends. We'd known each other since high school. We used to be inseparable. But I stopped calling them. I stopped showing up to their birthdays. I stopped remembering their lives. I was so consumed with my company that everyone else just disappeared. I had hobbies. I used to love basketball. I played every Saturday with my friends. I used to write. I kept journals filled with thoughts and dreams. I used to read philosophy books and talk about big ideas. But I forgot all of that. All of it. Basketball, writing, reading, thinking, it all evaporated. All I had was my job, and I was good at it. Don't get me wrong. Our company grew 300% in 2 years. We went from a small startup to a serious player. We expanded to 5 countries. We hired 200 people. Our revenue hit $40 million. And everyone said I was a genius. They wrote articles about me. The youngest CEO in tech. The man who changed an industry. How Marcus built a billion-dollar dream. I had the money. I had the status. I had the power. But at night, alone in my apartment, I cried. And I was sitting there on that cold floor, and I thought, is this it? Is this what I worked so hard for? To be miserable and alone. That's when it hit me like a truck. I wasn't building my company. My company was building me into someone I hated. Into someone who abandoned the people he loved. Into someone who didn't sleep, didn't eat, didn't live. I was a zombie in an expensive suit. The worst part? Nobody could see it. From the outside, I was winning. I was crushing it. I was living the dream. But inside, I was dying. I started having panic attacks. Unexpected, in the middle of meetings, I'd feel my chest tighten. My hands would shake. I'd struggle to breathe. One time, during a board meeting with our investors, I literally fainted. I collapsed. They called an ambulance. The doctors ran tests, blood work, heart scans. Everything came back normal. But the stress levels, the doctor looked at me and said, your cortisol levels are critical. If you don't rest soon, you're going to have a heart attack, or a stroke, or a mental breakdown. Possibly all 3. I nodded. I listened. And then I went back to work 2 days later. Because I was trapped. Completely trapped. I needed the money. I had expensive habits now. I had a luxury apartment. A car that cost more than most people's houses. An image to maintain. I needed the status. If I wasn't the CEO anymore, who was I? What was I? I'd built my entire identity around that title. Without it, I was nobody. That terrified me more than the panic attacks. Listen, if you're feeling this right now, if you're trapped in a life that looks successful but feels empty, if you're sacrificing your health and your relationships for a job, you need to hear what comes next. Because before I tell you about the moment everything changed, I want you to know, you're not alone. There are thousands of people watching this video right now who feel exactly like this. And they need to hear your story too. So please, hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and stay with me, because the next part of this story, this is where the magic happens. This is where I finally woke up. I was in a meeting with our board of directors. We were celebrating hitting $50 million in annual revenue. 50 million. That was the goal. That was what we'd been working toward. Everyone was cheering. Someone brought champagne. Expensive champagne. We were toasting to our success. Talking about the next milestones. 100 million. 200 million. Going public. Becoming a unicorn. And I felt nothing. Absolutely nothing. No joy. No pride. No satisfaction. Just emptiness. A hollow, aching emptiness. And that's when I had the realization that changed everything. I realized, I will never feel satisfied with this. No number is big enough. No achievement will ever be enough. If I stay on this path, if I keep going, I will reach the end of my life and realize I never actually lived it. I'll look back and see that I sacrificed everything for something that didn't matter. My health, gone. My relationships, destroyed. My peace, non-existent. My soul, empty. I had a choice to make. Keep climbing, keep suffering, keep dying slowly. Or jump. So I went home. I sat down at my computer. I opened a blank email to the board. And I typed 4 words. I resign, effective immediately. 4 words. That's all it took. My hands were shaking as I hit send. I thought I would feel terrified. I thought I would panic. I'd built my entire adult life around this job. Quitting felt like jumping off a cliff into darkness. But instead, I felt relief. Pure, undeniable relief. For the first time in years, I felt like I could breathe. I literally sat on my couch. No job. No plan. No future mapped out. Just me and my thoughts and the silence. People thought I was insane. My investors were furious. They'd given me millions. How could I just walk away? My team was confused. I'd built this company, and now I was abandoning them? My parents were disappointed. What are you going to do now, Marcus? You threw away your future. But something beautiful started happening during that month of doing nothing. I started sleeping again. Real sleep. 8 hours. 9 hours. I'd wake up and my body didn't ache. My chest didn't feel tight. I started eating. Real food. I'd go to restaurants and actually taste what I was eating instead of shoveling it down while checking my phone. I started taking walks. Long walks. Without my phone. I'd just walk through the city, through parks, and notice things. Trees. Clouds. People. The world kept going, and I was finally part of it. I called my mom. She cried. I hadn't really talked to her in so long. We talked for 3 hours that day. I apologized. I told her I loved her. I promised I'd be present again. I reached out to my best friends. They were shocked to hear from me, but they welcomed me back. We started hanging out again, playing basketball on Saturday mornings like we used to. And slowly, I started to remember who I was. I discovered I love nature. I took a trip to the mountains in Colorado. I sat on the edge of a cliff and watched the sun set, and I cried. Not sad tears. Relief tears. I realized I'd forgotten how to be still. How to just exist without producing, without achieving, without proving anything to anyone. I discovered I love writing again. I started journaling, and it all came pouring out. All the pain. All the regrets. All the things I'd been holding inside. Pages and pages of my soul. I discovered I love helping people one-on-one. I started mentoring young entrepreneurs, giving them advice. Not to build an empire, just to help them avoid my mistakes. To help them understand that success is hollow if you sacrifice yourself to get it. Most importantly, I discovered something fundamental. My worth is not my job title. My value is not my salary. I am enough, just as I am. Without the CEO title. Without the money. Without the status. I am enough. What completed me was peace. Time. Presence. The ability to say no without feeling guilty. The ability to rest without feeling lazy. The ability to fail without feeling worthless. Now, I'm not saying money doesn't matter. Of course it does. You need money to survive. You need money to be free. But I'm saying there's a limit. And once you cross that limit, more money just buys you more anxiety, more responsibility, more things to lose. I spent 3 years climbing a ladder that was leaning against the wrong building. And I only realized it when I was near the top. The view from the top isn't worth it if you're alone. I'm consulting part-time for companies that align with my values. I help young startups with strategy and business development. I make enough money to live comfortably. Not rich, just comfortable. And I have the rest of my time to actually live. I spend time with my family. Real time. My mom and I have dinner every Sunday. We talk about life, about dreams, about what matters. I have a girlfriend now. Her name is Jessica. We met at a coffee shop because I was actually in a coffee shop, sitting still, reading a book. She sat at my table, and we talked for hours. She's incredible. And I'm present for her. Completely present. I have hobbies again. I play basketball every Saturday. I write. I read. I travel. I hike. I live. Am I less successful than I was before? By conventional standards, absolutely. I make less money. I have a smaller title. Fewer people know my name. There are no articles about me anymore. But I sleep at night. I wake up excited about my life. I haven't had a panic attack in over a year. I smile. I laugh. I feel alive. That's real success. That's the dream I was actually chasing all along. Right now, I'm sitting on a balcony in the mountains of Colorado. The sun is setting over the peaks. There's a cool breeze. My girlfriend is inside making tea. And I'm at peace. If you're watching this and you feel trapped, if you're sacrificing your life for success, I want you to know, there's another way. You don't have to choose between success and happiness. You can have both. But sometimes you have to quit the wrong thing to find the right thing. If this story resonated with you, if you're on your own journey to find yourself, please subscribe. Hit that bell notification. And drop a comment telling me, what would you quit to find yourself? Thank you so much for watching. I'm Marcus, and I'll see you in the next story.